it's Nichol Spohr here today for Simon Says Stamp with a one-layer masked card design featuring the STAMPtember SugarPea limited edition exclusive called Shiver Timbers. This is an adorable 4 by 5 3/4 clear stamp set with tons of cute images and sentiments to create some really fun pirate themed designs. We're going to be creating a one-layer masked scene, which is something that I absolutely love to do. It is a bit, I don't really want to say a challenge, but it takes a little extra effort in the beginning to get it all set up before you get to the fun part, which is the coloring and finishing of the card. I always like to take the stamped images and lay them out on my card panel. In this case, it's a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel, and it gives me an idea kind of where everything's going to go. The images from Shiver Timbers are going to be the focal point of the design, but we've got a supporting cast of characters of cute sentiments and then some background scene elements that we're going to stencil. Stenciling is one of my favorite ways to finish off a one-layer scene. When you lay out your stamps on your background panel, it shows you how everything is going to work together and also what images need to be in the foreground or the forefront of the card. In this case, we've got the barrel with the monkey, the individual monkey, and the chest. Those 3 images are going to kind of be out in the foreground of the card, and then the 2 pirates are going to be a little bit behind. So we want to stamp these first. We're going to be doing no line coloring today with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So I'm starting with this 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel of Bristol Smooth cardstock and stamping my images with Lawn Fawn Jellyfish No Line Coloring ink. Then I'm going to stamp those images on masking paper, trim out the masks, and place them over the first stamped images. We're then going to take our remaining 2 images, which are the 2 pirates, and we're going to stamp those, stamp masks, create masks for those images, and place them over the original stamped images. I did stamp my images more than once, and that's because I want the line as dark as possible. It is going to fade out over time, and it can be a little tricky to see if you don't, or if your ink pad isn't super juicy. Once we have our masked stamped images, it's time to build any background building we need to do before we remove those masks and color our images. I personally prefer to mask first and stencil or ink or whatever it might be, and then remove them in color. That way, in case something goes wrong, I have not wasted all that time coloring and then only to have to throw it away. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is that often the mask will stick better before you add the coloring medium to your project. These palm trees are from the Trinity Stamps 6 by 6 layered palm tree stencils, and I thought they were perfect for a pirate themed card design. I'm using some Simon Says Stamp dye inks to simply ink up these stencils. They are layering stencils. There's little guides there that make it so easy to line these up. And we are going to ink the palm tree trunks first, and then the tops of the palm trees, and then we're going to go in and stencil a background of clouds. What makes this so easy, I don't have to create a mask for the palm trees because this set of stencils comes with both the positive and the negative of the images. So we can take that positive image and temporarily adhere it over the palm tree with a little, I like to use the pixie spray, and I don't completely cover the back of my palm tree. In fact, I just give it a tiny, or not palm, well, yes, the palm tree, but any of the stencils. I give it a little spritz so it's not completely covered, and I make sure and let it dry a little bit before I take it and place it on the project. That's going to work really, really well. So these palm trees are super cute and fun. I could see using them for all kinds of great scene building. I'm a huge fan of stencils for this particular technique, and it works really nicely. So we've got 3 little palm trees here, which is going to kind of help frame up the scene that we're building with the SugarPea Shiver Me Timbers images. This also is going to leave us with a nice area up high where we can add some stamped and embossed sentiments after bit. I'm going to use sentiment strips, but you could also stamp them directly on the background to make this a true 1 layer. This isn't a true 1 layer because we're going to have 2 sentiment strips popped up with foam adhesive and a little clay heart embellishment, but that's it. Then we're going to have a little sandy beach border down here along the bottom. So I'm going kind of light there. Then I really need to take my palm trees because I have a harsh line going through my palm tree trunk, which I don't really like. So we're just going to fix that here in just a minute. And I contemplated just using a sticky note to hold that down, but I opted for the pixie spray. It's going to work a lot better. And I darkened the base of the palm trees too, so that that line going through them isn't as visible. There's even the positive space for the sandy beach for these palm tree scenes, making it so easy to keep the blue that we're going to use for the sky away from these elements. So it's not going to ruin the trees or the beach or anything like that. This cloud stencil is the Simon Says Stamp Layering Rainbow Stencils set. So this is layered rainbows, but it also comes with the edge of it here of one of the stencils in the set. One is rainbows and one is clouds. Cloud shapes in the center and then cloud borders at the top and the bottom. I'm going to just take a little blue dye ink and stencil this up. There are not 2 of the positive shapes for the palm trees. So I try to keep my stenciling to the right side of the card, and then I'm going to flip my palm tree stencil over, place it over the other palm tree, and finish stenciling anything over on the left side of the design. This actually went really quick at this point, and it works so, so nicely. Once we have our stenciling done, we are ready to kind of finish up this. Let's remove all of those. I'm going to add those last few cloudy borders here, and then it's time to remove the masks. So to do that, I generally like to take a pair of tweezers and lift up the edge of the mask. I forgot, I'm adding the center of the palm trees. They have layering too. But we're going to lift up the corners of the mask with some tweezers and remove them all from the design, leaving us with the no line coloring. This is a tiny bit tricky because it's a little hard to see. Black outline would be a little bit easier, and definitely you could do that if you want. It's the same exact process. You're just going to have a black outline to color, which again is going to be a lot easier to see. I would very much recommend, if you are doing a no line coloring, that you color right away before those inks start to fade. You can see that there's still a pretty good outline here, but as I color this and get further into the project, there are some areas that are very difficult to see, and I kind of had to grab the stamp set and use it as a guide, which is absolutely fine. We're going to start with the pirate on the right side of the card. We're coloring in his face with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers in beige, flesh color, and then his hair with dark brown and beige. I did try to work one image at a time or one section at a time to keep that easy and also to keep my hand out of any ink so I hopefully don't smear anything. For the scarf around his head, we're using deep blue and cobalt blue. And then for detail on the face, I am going to take black glaze pens or black detail pens and add that in. And look how cute the little face is. Let's move on to the monkey in the barrel. This is deep brown, oatmeal, and pale pink for cheeks. The monkey gave me a little bit of fits, and that's mostly because I accidentally smeared his nose. So I had to work a little bit harder. In fact, I think I pulled in a little flesh color as well to get a nicer blend so that he wasn't ruined. And I had to go back over the nose later with the deep brown to get that detail in. Pale pink in the insides of the ears add a nice little pinky tone as well. I used the black glaze pen and a black detail pen for his face. And then the barrel, we're going to use beige and flesh color for the wood part. And then we're going to use dark gray and light gray for the bands around the barrel. The bands around the barrel have little detail rivets that I'm going to use a black fine tip pen to add that back in. With no line coloring, because you're losing detail of the face, I highly recommend having some sort of pens available that you can draw in faces or fine detail like rivets, because it makes a huge difference in the finished design. Let's do the telescope that our monkey is holding in dark gray and light gray. The glass on the telescope, I will come back a little bit later and use some haze blue for that. The hat for the little pirate parrot is dark gray and light gray. And this is an example of something that's very hard to see. There is a skull and crossbones on his hat that don't show up at all. And I actually just kind of winged it and drew that in with a black pen, which you'll see here in a minute. We're also going to skip over and color in the boots of the pirate with dark gray and light gray. And then I'll come back to our parrot and use deep red, red, and pale yellow with bright yellow for the beak. And we're going to draw in his eye patch, which also was very hard to see, and his eye. The pants for the pirate are blue-gray and haze blue, and then his belt around his waist is deep red and red. For the rolled up map that he's holding under his arm, I'm using mostly beige and flesh color with a little deep brown thrown in. Little dark gray and gray with bright yellow for the buckle. And then for his top, I want it to look white, so I colored it with light gray and a blender just to add a hint of color and outline, but not really a whole lot of color to the design. The chest is going to be colored with deep brown, beige, dark gray, light gray, and then a whole host of colors to help color in the jewels and gems and coins. Again, these were so little that a lot of that detail gets lost in the no line coloring ink, simply because I stamped all these and then did a lot of masking work and background work and didn't get to it super quick. But I did try to make the best of it and just kind of guessed where I could, followed or looked at the stamp set for a guide and really just kind of added some color. I just want it to look like the chest is full of gems, and I actually really think it was successful, and I like how it turned out a lot. I was a little bit worried, and it actually turned out so much better than I thought it would. I did use a little bit of the beige color to add some shading down in the sand. And there was drawing in the skull and crossbones on the pirate parrot hat. Our next adorable little pirate is colored in with deep brown and beige. We're going to color in the mouth, kind of draw that all in with a black fine tip pen and add a little red for his tongue. His eye patch is dark gray and light gray, as well as his pirate hat. We're about a little over halfway done. We simply have this pirate, our pirate captain as it were, and the little monkey with an eye patch and holding keys on his tail to finish. The scarf here on his head is deep red and red. His pants I also did blue gray and haze blue. The boots are also dark gray and light gray, just like our other pirate. Aren't they so cute? These are such fun images, and what I especially love is this is a SugarPea stamp set, and the cute little monkey has made an appearance in this stamp set. He is definitely a SugarPea staple in their collection, and just a fantastic little addition to this. Now this pirate's flag, it actually has a skull and crossbones on it as well, and it was so light, it's not showing up at all. And I'm going to show you how I fix that when I'm done coloring the rest of the design. Let's go ahead and color in our little eye patch monkey. Deep brown, oatmeal, pale pink, same colors as before. The scarf on his head is going to be deep red and red. I tried to pull in touches of red throughout. So there's not like a big bold red like shirt or pants, but there are, you know, little head wraps and red jewels in the chest, a red sash around the pirate's waist, and then their little red parrot. So little touches everywhere, and then we're going to round it out with a little red heart accent too when we're finished. This pirate is holding a sword. I of course used dark gray and light gray there. He's got gloves on. That is dark gray and light gray. I know that I forgot to color one of the gloves on camera. I colored it later. I even think in the finished photos I'm missing coloring one of his fingers. I did not notice it until after I had photographed and filmed everything, but I did color it in. So if you catch one of Heidi's lives during the month and you see that card, it'll be colored in there. His jacket, I did that cobalt blue again. I thought we needed to have a little bit more blue. And remember that monkey's got keys on its tail. That's going to be something I draw in with a fine tip black pen when I'm finished. So I'm kind of just finishing out anything I see here that needs finished, like the trim on his pirate captain hat. We're going to come back with the glove. I did ink up the stamp. I had not removed it from my MISTI on purpose. I had a feeling this might be the case. So I left it in the MISTI. I cleaned it, but I tried to ink up just the skull shape and then wipe away any ink that might be somewhere I didn't want it, and stamped it. And even though it wasn't a super dark impression, that's okay. It gives me something to work with, and I can take my fine tip black pen and draw that back in. And I think that flag really needs that. It works really nice. And then you can see I've colored in his other glove. This is the Lawn Fawn Just Stitching Double Rectangles. If you want a little border around your card, because this does completely cover an A2 size card base, this is an excellent option. I love stitching dies for this because they just add detail but don't actually take away from the design. So I ran that through, and then I'm going to take 2 phrases from the Shiver Me Timbers stamp set, and we're going to stamp them on black cardstock with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. We're using Ahoy Mate and You Are my favorite for my card. I think that works for lots of things. I think you could definitely put inside the card, it be your birthday or anything, party like a pirate. They all work together so beautifully. I really wanted to use all of them because I think they're cute and fun, but I tried to limit myself, I guess, so that it would not be overkill. Then we're gonna die cut these with nested banners, Simon Says stamp dies, which I absolutely love. I did shorten the top one because that little phrase Ahoy Mate is much smaller, and you're going to see me attach these to my card base with foam adhesive a little too low. I started too close to the images. I very, very carefully lifted those up and moved them a little higher. So if you wonder what the difference is in the finished card, that's it. I went ahead and raised them, and I think visually that works a lot better. I really like to be transparent with you guys when I find something that's not working, so that hopefully when you go to make a card, you don't make those same mistakes. I even added a dab of glue and added my heart, and I quickly realized I did not want it there, and I lifted it away and moved everything up. So there's what it looks like lifted up. Now, when I was finished, I realized I forgot to add the little bird flying, and I think that's going to add a great pop of color up high. So we're going to stamp that little bird with the No Line coloring ink, color him in with cobalt blue, haze blue, bright yellow, and pale yellow. And the addition of that cute little birdie up high just really rounds out the design perfectly. How much fun is that card? I'm going to adhere that to a white side fold card base, and then I've got a Simon Says stamp black envelope that I'm going to stamp Let's Be Pirates on with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder for a matching envelope that perfectly goes with the SugarPea Shiver Me Timbers STAMPtember 2020 stamp set. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this fun 1-layer masked card featuring this SugarPea STAMPtember Shiver Me Timbers stamp set. I hope you have enjoyed this video and it's inspired you to create something pirate fun with this set. Please be sure to visit the Simon Says Stamp blog for more information. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Happy STAMPtember, and we'll see you next time.